Joy Gardner was a mother, a daughter, a friend. One fateful morning, her life was stolen, and the events leading up to it will leave you speechless. On July 27, 2003, in the quiet town of Prestatyn, Wales, a seemingly ordinary day took a horrifying turn when two teenage boys stumbled upon a grim scene by the railway line near the Forred Bridge. They were shocked to find the lifeless body of a woman lying on the tracks. The victim was later identified as 20-year-old Joy Gardner, a young woman whose life had been cut tragically short. The news of her untimely demise spread like wildfire through the close-knit community, leaving everyone in shock and disbelief. But what they were about to discover would make this case one of the most disturbing in recent history. As the investigation got underway, the authorities found themselves scratching their heads over the perplexing details surrounding Joy's death. How did she end up on those train tracks? Was it an accident or something more sinister? And who was responsible for taking her life? The weight of these questions hung heavy in the air as the community grappled with the tragedy and demanded answers. But little did they know that the truth was far more gruesome than they could have ever imagined. The detectives were faced with a complex puzzle, piecing together the events that led to this heart-wrenching discovery. As they delved deeper into the investigation, they uncovered a series of disturbing details that pointed towards a horrifying reality. Joy's battered and bruised body bore the marks of a brutal assault, suggesting that she had been subjected to unimaginable violence before her untimely death. The mere thought of such brutality shook the community to its core, leaving them on edge and desperate for justice. Amidst the darkness of this grim investigation, there was a glimmer of hope. Witnesses came forward sharing their accounts of the fateful day, hoping to shed some light on the mystery surrounding Joy's presence on the train tracks. Their testimonies painted a haunting picture of the events leading up to the discovery of her body, but also left many questions unanswered. With each new piece of information, the detectives were faced with more complexities, making the task of finding the truth even more challenging. As the investigation deepened, the detectives hit a wall. Despite the outpouring of information from the community, solid leads seemed elusive. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and still the case remained unsolved, leaving Joy's family and friends in a state of limbo. The lack of closure only added to their agony, making it all the more important for the authorities to find answers. But where do you even begin when the pieces of the puzzle seem scattered and out of reach? In a desperate attempt to reignite the investigation, the police released images of Joy to the press, hoping that someone somewhere might have information that could crack the case. These images served as a haunting reminder of the young woman whose life was tragically lost, but also a plea for help from those who knew something but remained silent. Each day that passed without answers brought a new wave of frustration and despair. The community was on edge, yearning for justice, but also fearful of the darkness that seemed to be closing in. As the clock ticked, the pressure mounted on the law enforcement officials to unravel the mystery that had become a source of torment for the entire town. In a collective cry for justice, the people demanded answers, but the only reply was the deafening silence of the unknown. Just when all hope seemed to be fading, a glimmer of light appeared on the horizon. A piece of evidence, long overlooked or perhaps too insignificant to be noticed, resurfaced. It was a small detail, but one that held the potential to unlock the secrets of the case. With renewed determination, the investigative team delved deep into this new lead, exploring every possible connection and avenue it presented. It was as if a key had been found to unlock the door to the truth, but the path ahead was not without its obstacles. The significance of this evidence was not immediately apparent, and the team had to navigate a labyrinth of clues and theories to fully grasp its implications. Nevertheless, they pressed on, driven by the need to bring justice to Joy and closure to her grieving family and friends. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, a chilling picture emerged, revealing the dark truth behind Joy's untimely demise. The evidence pointed towards a harrowing reality, casting a long shadow over the town. With each passing day, the net tightened around the perpetrator, isolating them and leaving them with no place to hide. The game was on, and the stakes had never been higher. For the investigators, the pursuit of justice was a relentless journey. They worked tirelessly, determined to hold the person responsible for Joy's death accountable. As the evidence mounted, the sense of dread grew, painting a grim picture of the horrors that Joy had endured. The closer they got to the truth, the more determined they became to see this through to the end. And then it happened. After months of tireless work, the investigators finally caught up with the person at the center of it all. The moment of apprehension had arrived, and with it, the promise of answers. As they closed in, the gravity of their discovery became clear. The person they had apprehended was not just any ordinary individual. He was someone known, someone within the community, someone who had managed to evade suspicion for so long. The revelation sent shockwaves through the town, turning their world upside down and raising more questions than answers. Why did he do it? How could someone they knew be capable of such brutality? The shock quickly gave way to anger and a thirst for justice. The community united, demanding accountability and closure. The individual now behind bars faced the full weight of their scrutiny, knowing that his actions had not just destroyed Joy's life, but shattered the very fabric of their community. The case had taken an unexpected turn, pulling the rug beneath their feet and revealing a darkness that had been lurking in plain sight. Now, as they awaited justice to be served, the people of the town were left to grapple with the profound impact this case had had on their lives. The quest for justice had been long and arduous, but the arrest offered a glimmer of hope. As the trial commenced, the community came together, united in their grief and their pursuit of justice. Every witness account, every piece of evidence was scrutinized under the bright lights of the courtroom drama. The tension was palpable as the prosecution meticulously pieced together the timeline of events leading up to that fateful day. The spotlight was on the defendant, and with each passing moment, the walls seemed to close in, suffocating him under the weight of the evidence. The emotional toll on Joy's family and friends was evident. Their pain and anguish resonated throughout the courtroom, reminding everyone present of the human cost of this horrific crime. But amidst the sorrow, there was determination. They had waited months for justice, and they would not be deterred now. The defense, however, was not without its strategies. Attempting to cast doubt on the evidence presented, they sought to create a sense of uncertainty in the minds of the jury. The prosecution's case was strong, but the defense was persistent, determined to chip away at the conviction. This back and forth created a legal chess match, with each side striving to outmaneuver the other. However, the tide seemed to be turning in favor of the prosecution. Witness testimonies aligned, evidence stood strong, and the narrative they had woven was compelling. The jury was faced with a difficult task, but as they deliberated, the weight of their decision hung heavy in the balance. Finally, the moment of reckoning arrived. The jury delivered their verdict, bringing an end to weeks of nail-biting suspense. Guilty on all counts. The courtroom erupted in gasps and murmurs, and for a moment, the enormity of the verdict sunk in. But amidst the chaos, there was a sense of relief. Justice had been served. The judge, his voice resonating with the gravity of the situation, handed down the sentence: life in prison. As the defendant was led away, the crowd watched, their emotions a mix of anger and vindication. The long wait for justice had come to an end. In the aftermath of the verdict, the community began to heal, but the scars of this horrific crime ran deep. Support groups were formed, offering solace and understanding to those who had been affected. The town rallied together, determined to honor Joy's memory by coming together and supporting each other through the healing process. And so the tale of Joy Gardner serves as a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk within seemingly ordinary communities. It is a testament to the strength of a community coming together in the face of adversity and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Her name may have faded from the headlines, but her spirit continues to live on in the hearts of those who loved her, and in the ongoing efforts to prevent such tragedies from occurring again.